for the Artist Way. Week 10 is about recovering a sense of self-protection, and I had synchronicity, and this week just slapped me right in the face. So last week was supposed to be my week 10 check-in. I was too busy preparing for Camp NaNoWriMo, too busy writing, too busy watching my grandson, too busy uploading, too busy spending time with my grandson, too busy cleaning, too busy, too busy, too busy. Ironically enough, that's part of what this week is actually about. According to Mrs. Cameron, it's that busyness as well as other crutches, she calls them blocking devices, like food, alcohol, drugs, sex, dramatic relationships, and quite a few others. They're ways that we turn back on ourselves, she says. She says that when we begin to sense our real potential and the wide range of possibilities open to us, that scares us. So we reach for those blocks, those crutches to slow our growth. Some of these blocking devices are actually toxic: the alcohol, the drugs, probably sex, depending. Once you've rooted out the blocking device and you're actually aware of them and you root them out, that they no longer work effectively. But you have to be honest with yourself. And she says you have to write out the anxiety and see where we emerge. The anxiety is fuel. We can use it to write with, paint with, work with. One of the things I'm doing now that she suggests is to keep a daily checklist of how I spend my time, how much time I'm actually writing versus procrastinating, or how much time I spend on social media for writing versus like social media for socializing, and using it as a procrastination tool in a way, I guess. She talks about drought, fame, and competition. Now, Cameron states that during a drought, you feel like, or it seems like, your creativity's dried up. That she says these are the times when the morning pages are the most difficult and most valuable. Did I mention that I skipped my morning pages 2 days this week, 2 days last week? What I have to remind myself of is that the drought that will end. She says that droughts end because we have kept writing our morning pages because we've not collapsed to the floor and refused to move on. She also says that to write is to write thing, as in to WRITE is to RIGHT things. Sooner or later, always later than we'd like, our pages will bring things right. RIGHT. Bleh. She says fame says it encourages us to believe that if it hasn't happened yet, it won't happen. It's that kind of our luck has run out. Somebody else got all of it. She calls fame a spiritual drug, and she says that it's dangerous. She mentions a few spiritual drugs in here. While I was reading this section, I was reminded of a quote by Stephen King. He says, writing isn't about making money, getting famous, getting dated, getting laid, or making friends. In the end, it's about enriching the lives of those who will read your work and enriching your own life as well. It's about getting up, getting well, and getting over, getting happy. The fame thing, I'm not writing, because mostly I'm doing this for more writing, the Artist Way. And I'm not writing necessarily to be published. I want to be published. I'm not writing to necessarily get paid, although I would like to get paid. I'm writing because I have to write, because I need to write, because a story is inside me, multiple stories actually, and I want to get them out. I want to share them with people. Then she talks about competition, and she says that competition should prove that it can be done. That's where our thinking should be, instead of thinking that he or she will succeed instead of me. That kind of mentality is the fear talking. And since we are 8 days into Camp NaNoWriMo, and I have talked about how I didn't really want to think of Camp NaNoWriMo as like a competition, some people do, what they call sort of a healthy dose of did you make your words today? And for some people that works, but for me, it's always like really been more about having the fun, about getting my words on the page, using the NaNoWriMo events as for accountability means. And if I'm honest, I admit that when someone makes a 5K day or something like that, and I'm struggling to get 1,000 words, it does make me feel bad. But then I have to ask myself, I can make a 5K day. I mean, I've done it before. And if it's not possible for me to do it that day, what about making tomorrow my 5K day, or Wednesday my 5K day, or whatever day? It's all about in how we think, about asking ourselves the right questions. Cameron suggests that we ask ourselves questions like, did I work on my writing today? Or did I make my deadline? She also says that you have to be willing to paint or write badly while your ego whelps resistance. Your bad writing may be the syntactical breakdown necessary for shifting your style. Your lousy painting may be pointing you in a new direction. The art needs time to incubate, to sprawl a little, to be ungainly and misshapen, and finally emerge as itself. We must learn to approve of ourselves. Showing up for the work is the win that matters. Best piece of advice for me right now, since I'm actually doing Camp NaNoWriMo. And it's also a bit of synchronicity. Yeah, it's a bit of synchronicity. So I think the important lesson for me today, not today, for this week rather, is not avoiding my morning pages. Just because I'm busy or because I don't think about it first thing in the morning, I need to get on that routine where I'm thinking about it first thing in the morning. Um, Things have changed for me though since Mr. Rockstar is switching schedules constantly. Like he's on days and he's on nights, he's on days and he's on nights. And that has really just messed up my schedule. When I sleep in some and then my son wakes me up and then I take my son to work, um, I get home and the first thing I'm thinking about is making coffee because he's woke me up. Mom, it's time to take me to work. So I'm getting up and I'm taking him to work. Then I'm coming back and I'm making coffee, and I need to either get up earlier, go to bed earlier, get up earlier, and get my morning pages and the coffee. I was doing that. And then it just kind of got all, for example, I got up this morning because I had to take my son to work. Then I came back home. I actually did my morning pages. My husband made coffee while I was gone taking my son to work. The night before, I didn't get very much sleep and I had to wake up and take him to work, and I only had like a little bit of sleep. And once I'm up, I'm up. There is no, like, I can take a nap later that afternoon. And then I'm up at night. And I'm writing until the wee hours of the morning, and then I'm going to bed, and then I'm getting up in the morning to take my son to work. And so I'm not on a regular schedule, and I need to get back on a regular schedule. So the morning pages are not something I immediately think of when I get up, because normally I'm getting up and I'm taking my son to work. I'm getting dressed, brushing my teeth, and running out the door. When I get back, that's when I can slow down and get some coffee and relax and things like that. I can do my morning pages, which is what I did this morning. And I need to make that a habit, a regular habit. I was doing it, then I kind of avoided the morning pages, didn't know what to say, I was having trouble. I think that was what she was talking about. I'm avoiding things. This week made a lot of sense, and it's really ironic in a way because I have 2 weeks left of the Artist Way. Next weekend and the week after, and that's it. So for the next 2 weeks, I'm finishing this up. And have I procrastinated because I wasn't really quite ready to finish it up? Or am I procrastinating because of the fear, or avoiding, I should say, because of the fear of what she was talking about? So it really made me take a step back from some of the things she was talking about. It also made me think about things when I did some of the tasks that she has for week 10. And honestly, this has actually been a really good week for me, which is probably why I'm doing this early. It's Friday. This isn't really due until Sunday, but I wanted to go ahead and make the video. So I'm going to close this out because that's what I've learned. Week 11 is about abundance, I believe, and I'm super excited. No, 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 no. Week 11 is about recovering a sense of autonomy. I already did the abundance. Where's my mind at? NaNoWriMo, Camp NaNoWriMo. That's where my mind is at. So I'm going to go back to writing. That's it for week 10. If you haven't already started reading The Artist Way, you need to, because it's really great. If you are a creative person in any shape or form, it is something I think everybody who's creative really needs to at least read, even if you don't do the stuff. I don't know how you can take away from all of it if you don't actually do the work, though. I have Finding Water, I think, is her other book. I will start that May. And then I have the Right to Write book, and I may be starting that one next. I haven't decided which one I'm actually going to do, but I like her books. Some people think she's a little bit wacky. I don't. I really enjoyed this book so far. I've learned a lot from it, and I'm really glad. It has really helped me figure out some things and to delve deeper into my inner self, my higher self, and find out reasons why I procrastinate, why I avoid my fear and things like that. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a good one.